Hello, everybody. So here we are, a normal client coming in who hasn't had nails on for a hot minute because I haven't seen her since COVID. You know, she's a business owner. She has a cool little shop, and she also had another baby while I haven't seen her. Let me get my iPad up so if y'all have questions, I can answer them, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see how cooperative Facebook is today. All right, so first I'm just going to push back cuticles, and I've got some things ready to go. I pulled out my forms, I have my scissors, prepped a new file, and she's looking at foils right now because she has a design that includes a couple of flowers. So of course we have like a million foils with flowers, so she's taking a look. And again, this is what I typically have my clients do. So some people will sit and like let their clients look and not work, and I tell them to give me a hand so I can work on one while they do the other. So I'm going to hopefully be in frame here, a little bit at an angle. She's changing her mind. You can change to whatever. She doesn't remember how much stuff I have.
I have time.
You do have time.
I have lots of time today.
You do.
Today's the only day I probably will ever have this much time.
It will, right?
Oh, man.
I know, so many things. So she's now exploring the desktop of fun and seeing all there is to do.
We don't want this one.
Yeah, eliminate. That's a really good idea.
I kind of like these.
So when you're prepping, I am going to still prep her nail bed with my file. I just want to make sure I get in here real quick. I pressed a little hard there, so be careful. You can see it leaves a little mark. You don't want to do that. So it's going to grow out. It's not a major problem, but just so you know, I'm not flawless in my life. And I pressed a little hard when I put that down. It sometimes happens when a client will move just slightly. You'll just push into their nail a little more than you anticipated. So I very often get asked, what speed am I going? I need to look. Oh, no, this one doesn't light up. I used to have one that lit up, and this one doesn't light up. I'm on a foot pedal, and so I can turn it off and on all the way. So this is how it sounds like all the way. This is off, and I'm not quite, I'm maybe about half. So probably about 15,000 RPM is what I would say would be where I'm at, because my e-file goes up to 30. But it's just like driving a car. The harder you push down, the faster you go. So it's very simple.
These are cute.
There's oh so many and more coming. That's kind of the flower that you were looking at on that picture you showed me, but it's a little bit more exacting than what that was. So while she's looking, it's not a huge big deal for me to continue prepping this one hand and then switch. I know a lot of people freak out when their clients are touching anything, but this is how I stay on time, is that I continue to move, continue to work while she's looking, okay?
What can I do with these?
You can do all the things. They can be full coverage. So these are full coverage foils. She's looking at the marbly ones. So you can do like two colors. You can do, like you wanted the two solid nails and then a couple of designs. So you could do two solid nails that are in a similar color scheme. And then two of these, yeah.
Oh. Since I made you unwrap the whole thing.
That's okay.
I might do this. I might just switch up the whole thing. I knew it. That's why I didn't even look this morning. I was like looking and I had that picture and I was like, I'm not even
looking, but really, do you need to look? Because there's so many things you haven't seen. It's been so long.
Jay's like, do you know what you're doing? And I'm like, I have like an idea if nothing else pops out. But I was like, I feel like I'm going to come home with something completely different than what I go in thinking.
Right. Well, and to be honest, like I've had foils for a long time, but only recently did I discover the ultimate tricks to making them last the whole time. So people can come back in a month later and they still look flawless. So like mine are like a month old now. So it's how it is. Am I doing extensions, Stacy? Yes, I am. That is what I consider a full set. If it was just an overlay, then I would just call it an overlay. But this one's going to be extensions. So there'll be forms, there'll be gel, there'll be filing, all things that, you know, I don't do every day. Which is why we came live, because that's helpful. She's glancing what to do, what to do. So how is life as a mommy? Last time I saw her, I think you were about to go into labor. I don't think I've seen you since you had the first one.
Yeah, Bria.
She's very cute. I'm very thankful for Facebook because I can see your cute little munchkins.
I know. She like asked me last night. I told her that I wouldn't be there when she woke up this morning. She's like, "Can I come with you?" And I said, "Well, no, this is just a mommy date."
Yeah, that would make it a challenge for mommy to have. But it's your time, and Jay's probably more than happy to be like, go.
Well, except for the little one woke up this morning. It was 5.
Oh.
She woke up at 5 to eat, and I looked at Jay and I'm like, well, there's no point in going back to bed for me. Because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to get here this morning. And we live in, like, Stevens now. And so, like, I had no idea. So I was like, I wanted to leave, like, at least an hour. I didn't know how traffic was.
Yeah.
And so I, like, worked on the website for, like, 45 minutes before. But, I mean, how do you know if you're going to get here, you know, in a half an hour or traffic's going to be terrible? And then I would have been, like, stupid late, and then that would have been terrible.
Yeah, we need the time. The time for the beauty.
Yeah, so I was like, it's better if I just sit here. So we stayed awake, and one of our dogs is getting really old, so I think he's...
Aww. So she's got a little bit of a callus buildup of skin. You can use your bit, just like, you know, if you do a Russian manicure class, they'll be like, oh, you can use this bit for this. You can use a diamond bit or a diamond ball to go around if there's any calloused skin. So in this instance, we've got this little buildup just on the corners, which isn't abnormal at all. But you want to give your clients the best feeling situation when they're done. And if you can get rid of those hard bits of skin, they're going to feel just way better.
That's what happens when you don't come.
I know. She gets stressed out and picks, right? Picks, bites, all the things. And so she's really perfect when she has nails on. She doesn't do anything to them. And so it's really good for her health-wise because when she doesn't have nails on, they get attacked, for lack of better terminology.
No, they really do. Really do. It's really bad.
Yeah, it happens. It's been a while since I've done or seen extensions before. What nippers are they? They look easy to use. They are easy to use. So these are the Smart 30s. They do come in different lengths. We have, I think, 3, 5, and 7 millimeter. This one is the 5 millimeter. I love them. When I discovered them, I was really excited because I don't like nippers that have the 2 parts. They're the double action ones that have the 2 parts in the middle because they constantly come apart on me. And I'm having to like hold them together and push them back together. And these ones, they have a spring. They stay open and closed. They're awesome. They're the Smart ones. So the Smart collection, they dull a little bit easier. They are, the metal's not as high a quality, I believe. So you do end up trashing them a little bit faster. They're the ones that I just got when I tried them out. So now I'm just used to them. So if they start to get dull, they're not too expensive. I just toss and get a new pair. All right, last step for prep, and then we'll just do it all over again on the other hand. So I have a fully new prepped hand file. So just every now and then touch this because people will say stuff and it disappears because Facebook changed stuff and they're stupid now.
Connie said thank you.
You're welcome, Connie. So I always, especially with a new set, it's so vital to prep the nail bed really, really well. It's not a gel polish. This is an extension. And the biggest difference between gels and acrylic, when it comes to how they bond, acrylic, basically you've got to rough up the nail and acrylic will seep into the nail and hold on for dear life. That's how acrylic holds onto the nail. With gel, it makes a chemical bond on top of the nail and it sits on top of the nail. But it really helps if you don't have a shiny surface and it's really well prepped. If you prep this with like, say, a buffer, you're going to end up with a nail that's too smooth and it's going to just lift off. And so I've been, every now and then I'll troubleshoot someone and they'll hand file their gel at the end of their service and then they buff it really smooth and they're like, I don't understand why my polish is shrinking so much. And, in general, polish will shrink if it's not mixed well, but I always forget to ask people, are you buffing the surface of your gel to like almost a shiny surface? Because if you do, the gel polish isn't going to have anything really to grip to and it's going to shrink up. So that's another trick if you have shrinking gel polish, is if you're finished filing your nails, don't hit it with a buffer, just file it and then go straight to your color so it has something to grab onto. So again, I'm using the 180 side and I'm just making sure I go around and everything is prepped really, really well. This is how your nails should look prepped all the time. If you're not taking the time to properly prep your nails are not going to last. Your clients, if you properly prep them, should be good for a good month. So it's really important to do all of that.
They're just talking to each other.
Hey, Madison. Oh, Madison and Connie are talking to each other. Never mind. Hello, ladies. Well, Madison's not a lady. Madison's a man. But Connie's a lady. And Stephanie and all the others joining us. Priscilla, hello. These are my favorite nippers. I keep a cover on them to save the point. That's nice. Mine just live in my disinfectant tray. So I use my disinfectant tray with Let's Touch so things don't rust. And they live there. So I don't put a cover on them because they are always soaking. So I have multiple pairs in there, multiple cuticle nippers, multiple bits, things like that. So my tray is where mine live.
Madison said, hey.
Hey. So you always want to keep them good and disinfected. But anyways, let's clear this for a second. That's what my towel's for. And number 2. Push. So everyone should be getting some Stalix stuff. If you didn't know, Stalix is from the Ukraine. So they are, of course, in a world of hurt at the moment. I've been messaging with my representative there, which some of you met at the nail camp we did last year here in Vashon, outside of Seattle. So I've been messaging her. A couple weeks ago, I checked in. She said that she was in with her boyfriend, kind of like in a bunker, but her parents were in the city, also in a bunker. So I texted just to see how they're doing, see if there's anything that we can do. And I haven't heard back. That was yesterday. So I'll keep y'all updated if I hear anything. But it might be hard once we're out of stock of Stalix to get some for a while because we have no idea how their plant is or anything. You know, obviously everything's going to change. So if you have some Stalix or you're in need of some, I would not wait because we have a limited inventory and I don't know when we'll be able to get some back in.
Sharon asked for you to tell her more about that disinfectant stuff.
Tell you more about the disinfectant stuff. So it is called Let's Touch. I've been using it since I was a baby nail tech because when I got out of school, I asked all the nail techs in Beauty Tech, which was our message board before Facebook days, what do you all use for your implement disinfectant? And they all said Let's Touch. It's from Isabel Christina. And I was like, all right, cool. So I got it. And of course, as all new nail techs, you try a million different things as well. And I found that everything else rusts my implements. And Let's Touch does not. And it's a hospital grade disinfectant. It's expensive for one container because it's highly concentrated. So it lasts a really long time, but it's like $70 for the container. It was becoming hard for even me to find because the supply house that was here in Seattle that carried it closed down. So I started distributing it myself. So you can actually get it on my site at Love Nails called Let's Touch because I contacted the company. It took actually like 3 times for me to get a hold of somebody there and say, look, I want to carry your stuff. Because they don't have a lot of products. They have like a surface disinfectant, which actually I use Ultronics for that. But they have a surface disinfectant and the implement disinfectant. So they don't have like a gazillion products that I know of. But you can grab Let's Touch from me and I will ship it to you.
Connie said she's going to order from you soon.
Alrighty.
And God bless all of them. I love Let's Touch since 1993. I used it for years.
Yeah, it's great. I like Ultronic Surface Disinfectant, but I did find that their implement disinfectant rusted my stuff, so I don't like to use it. But I can leave. You know, I can go out of town and having not changed, forgot to change my water out or something before I get home, and I'll typically change my water in the morning when I'm getting ready, and change my tray out. But I've left before and, you know, been gone weeks and weeks and weeks, and it doesn't affect the implements at all. And I have some implements in there, like I have a pair of nippers that I wanted to try out because they're so popular and they're an interesting shape. And so I thought, oh, I should try these out. But they're just too big for my hand. I have a really tiny hand, which is part of the problem in my life. I mean, it's not a huge problem, but it's a bit annoying sometimes. And so these other nippers I got, I'll show you. They are
I have huge hands.
They're really...
Small hands are a good thing.
Hands are not huge. Look, your pinky and my pinky are almost the same.
Look how big my hand is.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not that big.
It's pretty big.
It's not. Mine are just retarded. My thumb is especially small. Like, it's super tiny. And if I didn't have nails on them, people would see how tiny it is. So, this is, you know, nails make me look like I have much longer fingers than I really do. So, cleaning as much up as I can, getting in here, making everything ready, and so nothing is in the way.
It's rough.
Cleaning it up. It's all good.
They were bad. We were in bad shape.
Oh, you know, it's been a minute.
It's been like years.
I know. Can you believe the whole COVID thing? Like 2 years old now. Over it. So glad it's done. Aren't you so glad it's done?
It's been so long. Well, I was worried that when I came, I was like, oh, is she gonna make me wear a mask?
Oh, no.
Because I wore my glasses, and I'm like, that's gonna be terrible for an hour and a half.
No.
My glasses are all fogged up.
No. I think the whole mask thing, I mean, I know some people are going to wear masks forever and ever, and that's totally fine. It's their prerogative.
Oh, for sure.
But, I mean, we went to Austria where the like the N95 ones were law since it's like September. And we're there at Christmas, and they were in lockdown again because of their numbers. I'm like, look, you guys are requiring everyone to wear these, like, pretty much everywhere. Like, you couldn't, even outside, people were wearing them. Because there was, like, if you're on the streets, they'd stop you on the streets. So they had these, like, super extreme masks on, and yet their numbers weren't really any different from anyone else. So I feel like it really, in the end, how much of a difference does it really make? Because you're not even talking about people that can wear gaiters or whatever. Like, they're wearing these thick masks, and my husband can't breathe through those. So when we got on a plane, and they were like, you must wear these, they gave him one because we were flying between countries, and he like ripped the insulation part out. He's like, I can't breathe through this. But in general, like, that's what they were doing since September. And I'm like, well, if they work so well, they would not be sitting here in lockdown, you know, with their numbers being crazy. So I'm like, let's just be over it. Let people live. Living is good.
Let them breathe.
Yes, let them breathe. It's very excited. I asked Larissa, I said, so how is it seeing all your friends? And she goes, well, a lot of the friends I see after school. So she's like, I've seen their smile before. But she's like, the teachers are weird. Because none of them she'd see after school. So she literally hadn't seen, like, their faces at all. So
it's like at the boutique, there's, like, customers that, like, will recognize, obviously, Jay and I work there, you know, like, our employees. But, like, when they come in and they're like, oh, hi. And I'm like, I don't know. And, like, you know, like, you haven't seen half their face for, you know, 2.5 years.
All right, so again, just pushing around, prepping. It's really important to get nice and deep into these sidewalls. A lot of people, when they're prepping, ignore this, and it's really, really important that you don't. So it's going to be really good to do her forms because you guys are going to see some good lessons on forms because she has the skin on the sides that kind of pop up a little bit, which is completely normal. But a lot of people don't know how to put a form on to work around that. I'm very excited to tell you all that I have new forms coming from Olena. If you don't know who Olena is, she is the world champion from Germany. And I was supposed to go take a class from her in Germany, in Berlin. I was scheduled to take one, I want to say September 2020, you know, and then COVID, so that didn't happen. I was really excited. So I want to go take a class from her because her nails are unbelievable. And so we are excited that I'll be bringing her forms in from Berlin, and she has done some of the things permanently on her forms that I'll be showing you today, so...
Teresa said, we are lifting our mask mandates here on Monday. My 10-year-old is anxious, wants to wear it for her social anxiety. Sad.
Yeah, it is sad. A lot of kids developed social anxiety because of this. And mine has anxiety, and she was saying that she might, but I think she's much better off not. So I think she's doing okay not wearing it. But yeah, it's become almost like a crutch for kids, especially that haven't experienced life without being able to hide behind a mask. So it's really sad. All right, so I've got a wipe filled with Prep and Wipe, and my Prep and Wipe is mixed with some acetone because I do a lot of stamping as well, and so it lets me be able to clean off any leftover stamping products. So as you can see, I'm really scrubbing on top of just the nail surface. You don't want to be rubbing your wipe like this. If you rub your wipe like that, you're going to be pulling all the oils that are on their skin onto their nail plate. So I'm just scrubbing that nail surface really well, cleaning it and dehydrating it at the same time. I'm not going to be using any primers. I don't need to use primers when I'm using Trinity, and I'm going to be using Trinity as my base. And so I don't need any primers. I'm just going to go straight to Trinity. So I want to make sure that this is really cleaned off and dehydrated. It is obnoxious. I don't know why Facebook did that. I have yet to figure out how to make it do it.
Have hands all the time?
I don't know.
Like if you were trying to do something, like
I know
by yourself.
it's really obnoxious. So the comments on the Facebook thing just disappear all the time. It's really stupid. All right, Teresa has to go see a client. We will talk to you later. Let me know if you have questions. You can post them later after the video is done. All right, so I'm going to be using my handy dandy little forms. I created these a million years ago. Oh, that one had gotten something on it.
Evelyn says she loves your nails.
Ah, thanks, Evelyn. They're about to change. I got to change them next week before I go to Texas, so I will change them. All right, so things that I always do. Lift up the back, put it on here. That gives me a little bit more strength. I do want to let you know, if you've ordered forms in the last couple of weeks, there was a new batch from Akzentz, and their manufacturer messed up and did like half the paper width. So they are like unbelievably, I'll show you. I think these are, so they are like, these are stiffer, and these ones are like super light. So if you ordered in the last couple of weeks, once we get a new batch in, because they are sending us a new batch, you can put in the comment section, please pull my last order and replace my forms. So as long as your forms that you ordered were from our last batch, I'll be able to replace your forms in a future order once they come in. All right, so here's what I'm looking at, is what I'm talking about is if you have the skin on the side, if you want to get a nice C-curve, you need to make your form go around that. And if I just put this on, it's pushing the skin down and it makes it more difficult. So what I'm going to be doing is cutting a teddy bear. So this is a technique that I learned in Poland. And Olena's forms, and it takes me a minute to like remember my my technique for doing this, but you're basically making little teddy bear ears. So Elena's new forms in Poland, it pops out. It's already ready and cut, so it's really exciting.
That's cool.
I know. And I can leave this pretty flat because if I'm looking at the front of her nail, it already is pretty flat. So what it does is by cutting this teddy bear, it allows that skin, if you look at it from the side, it can poke through here, right? So it allows that skin to poke through, which gives me a much better shape coming down off the nail. Did you guys see that? So again, touch, attach. And I'm going to do the teddy bear on all of hers. So some people may not have this skin stick up. It's extremely common if it does, but not everybody has it. So having a form that's pre-cut for it isn't going to hurt someone that doesn't have it.
Oh, she said we cannot see.
Sorry, I know I'm cutting. It's a little off camera when I'm cutting. Let me get this one on and I'll do the next one. I cut it a little low, but that doesn't really matter. I'll try to do the next one on camera. Okay. So this one's coming down far enough, but the other one needs a little bit deeper teddy bear. So
You're so cool. I learned this in Poland.
I did, and I say it like that because she had the cutest accent. Her name's Paulina. She's from Indigo, and I'm gonna have you scoot back just a little bit so when I cut it, I'm actually in camera. She's one of the world champions. Her trophy case, because like in Poland, competing is like a whole nother world. Her trophy case is surreal. Like it's beautiful. It's this huge wall of like lit up glass shelves and the whole thing. God. Yeah, it was. And then she had like little tables around because they didn't all fit in her trophy case.
I have that problem too.
All right, so teddy bear. So I'm going about here when I do this. There's no kind of perfect spot. And I'm just spinning my form when I cut the ears. And like Paulina had done this 800,000 times, and so her teddy bear ears were like perfection. And I don't do it that often, so my teddy bears are, it's like a little bit of a drunk teddy bear, but but it does its job, which is to get around the side of the nail. Now this one, my teddy bear comes in too far, so I'm missing the side here. Do you guys see that in my end here? If I put this one on here, I'm missing this whole corner, which is a little bit too much. So I'm actually going to skip that nail and go to this one where it might fit a little better. No, I cut it too much. I cut my teddy bear's ear off. I'm telling you, I just don't do it that I mean, how often do y'all do full sets on regular clients? You don't, because they're regular clients. But when they come back, we did a lot of full sets after COVID. Like, so many, because nobody, we had a lot of people that didn't have nails on. They'd filed them off, after a couple of months of not being able to get their nails done. They just filed them off, which
was a terrible time.
What do you remember most about COVID? I lost my nails.
It's true, though.
10 years from now.
She sent a monkey emoji.
A monkey emoji, yeah, my drunk things. But yeah, we did a lot of full sets after COVID. Everybody had full sets. It was funny because, you sell forms, and most nail techs don't buy forms that often just because you don't use them that often. But holy cow, everybody was running out of forms. And so like every order for probably the first month, everyone started going back to work was like another roll of forms, another roll of forms. It's kind of funny. So I'm really excited to get Elena's forms in. Once they come in, I will show you guys how they're made and how you can see, the teddy bear. From my understanding, I can't be sure exactly yet, but I want to say that they might even have different teddy bear ear sizes that you pop out the one that fits, but I could be completely wrong. We'll find out when they get here. Hopefully they don't take too long, but I would expect them sometime in April. I will have them from Germany. Yeah, and if you want to see like the most beautiful nails, she is right up there, because she's the world champion. She won the last world championship, so she knows what she's doing. All right. She does know what she's doing, absolutely. All right, so now we'll do the thumb. Let's see if we can go a little higher because you can't see it. So again, we're going to touch and put it down. These scissors are also from Stalix. They are the 51-1 Expert ones, so they're a fancier one, but they cut very well, and they will stab your finger really well too, which I can guarantee, because I've done that before. Draw blood real quick.
Which I won't guarantee. Oh, goodness.
Things being said.
No.
Oh. You were like, looked at it like, oh goodness. I thought things were being said.
It was just dark and I wasn't paying attention.
All right, so this one, she's got a wider nail bed, so I'm going to cut this even so that I can make it work. And we're going to scoop it down just a little bit right in the center. So form placement takes a while if you're doing it perfectly and they don't have a free edge, and it's just part of doing a full set. You're not going to be doing it once they have their nails on, so it's really just part of a full set. And there we go. Perfection. All right, so this one, the skin's going to go around, and this one, I need a teddy bear right there. So we're just going to attempt not to screw it up.
I feel like you got like so many different more nail colors.
Well, they release 6, 12, 15, 18 a year, and it's been a little while.
I feel like soon you're gonna have to like move your TV.
Well, and I don't think I had mood polish when you were coming, and now I have the world of mood polish, which shall change your life.
Does it actually change when you're moving?
Oh yeah. Well, it changes from heat. So.
This is exciting.
Yeah, they're really, really, really fun. I wear them quite often. Right now I just have 5 different colors, but I actually wear the mood polish a lot because I love them. I think they're so much fun.
It like lets you be, oh my gosh, this is really hard now.
Use your knuckle.
Oh, good idea. Okay.
Yeah. Stupid Facebook. Everyone needs to revolt against them and say, look, should not make comments disappear when you're watching a video. Maybe you want to read all the comments. It's super annoying. Maybe if people just talked a lot more, I don't know, maybe it would help. All right, so again, if you look at this, you can see where this teddy bear that I cut out is going to go around the skin. And I'm going to close the form here. And then these forms, these Pro Tab forms, I designed this to close like this. And the reason I did that originally was because when I created these forms, they were before the days of LED lights. So we had UV lights. And UV lights put off heat, and the heat causes the sticky to turn a little gummy, and the forms will open. So if you remember back in the day, if you're an OG, old nail tech, actually, right? If you did nails from before the days of LED lights and you had a UV light, you'll remember that your forms would pop open, and it drove me freaking crazy. And so when I was working with Akzentz, I think we made these maybe 15 years ago about. I'm trying to remember where I lived, and I remember being in the kitchen playing with form paper. So I know how I lived in the Winville house, and so I know that Larissa would have been either not born yet or just born, because I only lived there for like 2 years. So about 15 years ago, and I got to play with paper.
She's 15.
She's 14. Wow. I know. You blinked, and welcome back. You have 2 children, and mine's a teenager. I know.
Sorry, carry on.
Yes. Okay, so over here, you can see that over here, the skin sticks out really good. And over here, I'm not getting as good of a C-curve. Do you see the difference here? It's bowing out because I don't have enough of a teddy bear cut there, right? So I'm just going to pop this off real careful. Yeah, I know. You remember that Halloween? So there was one Halloween.
I know they pop up every year. I love
that.
That's literally why I post on Facebook, just so the memories will pop up.
I know. Her husband, Jay, was Larissa. She wanted to be a police officer one year, and she was like 8, 9.
Yeah, God, that was so long ago.
It was so long ago.
Now that she's 14.
I know. And she wanted to be a police officer, and so Jay was her prisoner. And it was so funny. She had him in handcuffs, and she was serious.
And
like
the
it
ball
was
and chain too.
Oh, and the ball and yeah, she was not joking around with her thing. All right, so now I've got a much sleeker nail because that skin right there is able to pop out. So hopefully that helps, and you're able to see how that works. All right, I'm getting close to being done. This is an important part.
I should leave just like this.
And yeah, you could, yeah, that'll last you about 5 minutes. And you can, some people go, can you use tips? Of course you can use tips. I don't use tips. And there's quite a few reasons why. Sizing tips and getting them to fit perfectly is annoying. It's really not comfortable for most people. If you've had tips glued on before, like her nails are very flat. If I glue a tip on that is not flat, it's going to pinch and not feel good. So I really am a much bigger fan of getting a customized form because then their nails are exactly fit to their own nails.
Tiffany said, "Hi, Jess."
Hi, Tiff. So I don't know anyone else in the U.S. that teaches this teddy bear method, but I will share it all with you. And we will all thank Paulina in Poland. We had a good time in Poland. It was interesting because I think we went in like 2017 or 18, I can't remember. But it was like the war still, like World War II had just happened. Like they have so many buildings that are still totally destroyed. My tab stayed.
Tiffany said that your nails are always fire. Nice to see you soon.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll see you in May at the One Show. I'll do a little plug about that now. So if you are living in the Northwest anywhere, you really should take a drive and come to the One Show. I am doing a full day gel class, salon nails. So I'll be teaching this hands-on. So if you need to get some practice in, you want help with things, for me to be able to work directly with you, it's a good class to go to. You can sign up on my website at lovenails.com for that class. There's limited spots though, so if you're thinking about it, you might want to grab a spot. But it is in May. It's May 13th, 14th, that weekend. And it's the only nail trade show around. So really, y'all should be going.
Did you ever slow down?
Why? Yes. I went to Mexico for fun.
I saw that.
I do slow down.
Yeah, that's not really slowing down, though. You still did stuff.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to use these really thin forms because I am out of, I just used my last one of my old ones. So I literally just doubled it up just to make them a little bit thicker until my new forms are in. They're very flimsy feeling. So we all emailed and I was like, what is the deal? And she goes, we got more in. So I'm like, okay, good. So I can come in my next shipment. It takes a couple of weeks for me to get my shipments in typically from Akzentz, even though they're only an hour and a half away. It's not really the shipping time because I have it couriered. So it comes almost overnight. It's the packing time. And sometimes I have to recreate me gel. So right now, before this next shipment comes to me, they are making me a new batch of natural pink. So if you are a nail tech and you love natural pink, it's one of the old UV gels that Akzentz used to make, and it's what a lot of my older videos are. I'm using natural pink. So I really have to customize this one a bit. It's pretty close. So if you love natural pink, I've had a couple people that were like, there's none available. And I'm like, I know, I'm sorry. So the chemists are going to make me another batch, which means I'll have it at least for another year or so. Because it takes that long to get through a batch. I have to buy a lot of jars for a batch. But then you'll be able to use natural pink again. And natural pink I use a lot of the time with full sets. Because I don't have any available, I'm going to use Balance, which is the other product I use for full sets. And really it's preference. And if you only have a LED light, you're not going to be able to use natural anyway. So, all right. Next step. We are going to use Trinity. Now, as you know, most of the time I'm using the 106 brush, which is a flat brush. For any fills, anything like that, this is my handy dandy trusty 106 brush. This is what I use 99% of the time, all day long. But when I do a full set, I like to use this oval brush. Now, it's a Kolinsky brush, which means Kolinsky brushes have had problems. Now, it's a brand new one. Someone sent this back because they're like, there's a couple of little hairs. So I wanted to show you guys what happens. If you get a brand new brush and there's a couple hairs sticking out, it is really not the end of the world to give it a tiny little haircut. It's not going to hurt your brush. It's not going to do anything. It was just a couple of the Kolinsky hairs that just went haywire. But it's a brand new brush, so I'm going to show you how to do this. One of the things you should know is that Kolinsky brushes, because they are made with a natural hair, and apparently Kolinsky Farms are like, maybe went out of business or something. This brush is now $41, I believe, which is crazy. It sucks that they went up in price. So take care of it, put the cap on it. So when you have a new brush, you want to make sure that it gets filled with gel. So I'm going to press this brush into my pot of gel, and I'm going to let it fill up. I'm almost out because I go through a lot of Trinity. People probably ask, well, how much do you go through? It takes me a couple weeks, but I'll go through one of these every couple of weeks because it's all I use all day long. All right, so once you have it filled with hair, the only way you're ever going to clean this is like that. So you don't want to be using a bunch of cleansers or anything like that. All you want to do is just give it a wipe. So I'm just going to be applying this as like a bonding layer because I'm going to be using Balance to make my arch and my extension. And Balance does not have bonding gel built in like Trinity does. Trinity is like bonding gel, strength, and hard gel all in one. And usually the rule of thumb was like, okay, well, if you have a 3-in-1, it means something's got to give. Like it's either not going to be as shiny, or it's not going to be as strong, or it's not going to bond as well. And I can tell you this is like the miracle gel because it does all of those things beautifully. I use it as a top coat quite often with anyone who has is putting foil on. So I know that it works really well for top coat. So once you get it on there, you can put it in the light. In the light, please, madame.
It's not going to get hot on me, is it?
No. It shouldn't. This is a very thin layer.
I don't remember what gets hot, what doesn't.
I will instruct you to help prevent any heat. It's like a brand new client.
I know. I'm not intelligent anymore.
That's okay. Even not brand new clients still forget and do things that I'm like, you're not new. Take your hand out.
I was doing pretty good before I had to stop.
I know. That whole life and motherhood thing got in the way.
I know.
All right, it's touched with a little smidge. Just right here. And I really don't like things in the cuticle, especially bonding gels, because I don't want to have a ridge that I then have to file out later. So I don't want it in the cuticle. And you don't need to sit and scrub. I don't know where that idea came to play, but it's really not necessary. You just need to put it on the nail. I just kind of scrub it as I push just to get it release gel off of my brush, but...
These are new, they beep at you now.
What?
These are new, they beep at you now.
Yes, so these ones, no. So right now I test lamps all the time because if I'm selling lamps, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, these lamps are all amazing. So right now I'm testing the she finds that hilarious. Right now I'm testing the Lachat Luminix lamps, which are really nice. They are hybrid lamps, so I can use my natural gels and all of that. They seem to cure everything perfectly fine, but I feel like they cure at a slightly slower pace, so people aren't getting as hot. So that's not a bad thing. All right, so we're going to build the extension out. So I am getting out my Balance Clear. You can use Balance Coverage colors if you like. It's totally up to you. There's glitter in this one. Shocking. As if that never happens. All right, I'm going to put that here so people that are like, what are you using? It's right there. Okay. So I'm going to get a nice, good size ball. Now, I should have let this get warm a little bit. It's really cold. If I put it on some heat for like 5 minutes, even like a heating pad or something, it will get a little bit easier to use. I can't really do that because I need to use it, but I would like to do that because it will make it a little easier to use. But this is how it is when it's cold. But if you want it to move just a little bit more, just get some heat under it. So a heating pad or a coffee warmer, anything like that, you'll get some heat under it. So she does a pretty active length, not super, super long, but not like fingertip either. So we'll just get an extension built out that I know, okay, this is a little bit too long for her, so I know I'll be able to file it type of thing, right? Is that about right?
Yeah, not too long.
Yeah, not too long.
To button my pants.
Minor.
I couldn't do what you're doing.
Why do you need a button? Go back to stretchy pants.
Yeah.
Live the life of COVID. Yeah, I don't have very many people who wear long nails like mine. I think I have 4 long nail clients. And
I wish I could. They look so cool, but I just would.
yeah.
You would hear from me every day. I broke one.
I do video a lot with Shayla, who's one of my long nail ones, because she just loves to be on camera and chat with people. She's so funny. So what's nice about Balance is it's not going to be continuously moving like Trinity or anything else. So you can just get it on there and you can do 4 nails and then the thumb separate. And I don't have to do a full cure between the 4 nails and the thumb. I just need to make sure it's not moving. So now looking from the side, you can see that that is still quite flat. And I need an arch in there. So I'm going to take some gel right on my brush here and I'm just going to circle it right in the middle where my arch needs to be and drop it off. Now, I find it easier to do this technique with natural, which is one of the reasons I'm bringing it back in. It moves a little bit better. Do you guys see an arch in there now? Perfect. So I really like doing it with natural, but like I said, we're out of natural. Chemists are going to make us a new batch and then I'll have more. But if you do decide you want to try using natural, it has a different heat spike. It takes longer to get hot, but it gets way hotter. So you really have to guide your clients to go in and out if you want to use it. I used it for 15 years, no problem. You just have to learn your gel, and that's a lot of it. Some people that go from acrylic to gel are like, I don't like the heat, and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, it's just learning your gel. You just need to know at what point it gets hot so you can instruct your clients when you come out of the light and let it cool for a second. That's all I got to do. It's really not brain surgery. You just have to learn your gel.
Common sense is not that common.
Yeah, it's a thing. So this doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to, you're going to be filing it real quick. So it does not have to be perfect. I just want to make sure I have enough in there that I have an arch and I have my extension built in this step. And moving it around, that's why I like this one gel brush for moving it around, because I'm just using the very tip of that oval to do it. Well, hello, Princess Sarah. All right, so move. Again, I get it on, and then I don't have enough on here. It's easier to work with a lot of gel than it is just a smidge of gel, so I'll get more on there and push it around. Pushing it, pushing it. Okay, and then I know from the side view, I'm missing a whole bunch of gel. So I'm gonna grab a ball and circle it. So a little bit of glitter in there, but it's really not a problem because we're gonna cover this with color and design. So we're not doing a clear nail, that's for sure. So, no. So tiny bubbles and things like that when you are doing a nail that's not gonna be cleared is not a dramatic issue. So don't stress yourself out over the tiniest little bubble or something like that. It's not gonna affect your product. It's gonna be just fine. So I'm just going through making sure I have enough where I need it to be because this is the only step for doing this part of the extension. So I'm gonna have you go in the light. We're gonna 1, 2, 3, and come out. Now, if you wanted to pinch, this would be about the time you're gonna pinch. You can check it by just tapping it, and you can see that my nail doesn't go into it. If you don't want to use your nail, you can use a stick and see if your nail doesn't go into it. If it doesn't go into it, then this would be where if you wanted to pinch a bunch, you could. I'm not going to go overly crazy with pinching on her because it's not necessary. She's not a competition model. But we're going to go ahead and let those set another few seconds. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to do her thumb. So that's all you need to do is just a few seconds in to set it up just so it doesn't move on you. And then we'll do the thumb. And I'm going to do something I usually don't do just because some of you may not have time to watch the whole video. I'm actually going to do the second step of this extension before I do the other hand. And that way you can see the start to finish on one hand. And that way, not completely finished, but at least for gel application. That way, if you can't stick around, you can still see what's going on because it's not going to hurt anything for me doing that at all. It'll continue to cure. That's part of the thing is a lot of people are like, well, it hasn't had a full cure. I'm like, it's clear. The light can keep curing. When you put that hand in to cure the next step, it's going to keep curing. All I want to do right now is make sure that the product that I put on isn't moving. It's a nice arch in there, but is it enough? Maybe a smidge more.
Ellen said thanks. Oh, because you're going to do the second step right now.
Oh, good.
I think that's what I'm taking.
All right, so we're going to put that in. 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right, now I'm going to get out my other brush because I'm going to do this layer just like I would a fill.
Do you want me to go back?
With Trinity. Yep, do 3 more seconds for me.
1, 2, 3.
Okay. So going in and using my Trinity, I'm going to do my second step. And what that's going to allow me to do is just doing it like a fill. So right now there's no product up here. The way I did that last step is I kept the product near the stress area and on the extension. Do you guys see there's no product up here near the cuticle? The reason is I want to keep it really thin and it's hard to do with balance. So it's much easier to do this step where you are filling in the cuticle just like you would for a fill and glide it over the nail. And you can use your Trinity then to fill in any spots that you might see because you can check your line of light that way because Trinity is going to self-level. So it's going to help you to see, okay, I need a little bit smidge more in this spot, but it's fine over here, or I need a little bit maybe on this spot because your line of light is now going to be smooth. Do you guys see what I mean? Now I can look at the nail and see if there's anywhere that's too low or anything like that. So this is a 2 second. Go in. 1, 2, and then out. And then I go to the next nail. So this allows me to have a very smooth nail to file on, and having the ability to see that line of light, you're really able to see where you might have a low spot, where you might have missed something with your balance. Strength-wise, and I've tested this with just like putting product on forms and giving them a really good squeeze with the same thickness, they're like the same. They're basically the same flexibility, same strength. So you're not changing the strength. What's changed is the viscosity. And by changing that viscosity, you're able to have a smooth nail that lets you have the ability to see what you're looking for. So you can leave about a credit card thick or business card thickness, credit card thickness, basically between the cuticle. You don't need to go all the way to the cuticle because you're going to have to file in there. So leave a little bit of a gap just for ease of filing, because the closer you are to the cuticle, the more likely you are to flood it, and then you have to file it, which is not fun. There's a little bit bigger of a bubble than I usually like in that spot, but it's cured now, so it's going to have to stay. So checking my line of light just to see if I have gel everywhere I need. I can drizzle once I've covered the nail with a slip layer. So once I've done that fill layer, it's what you can kind of call a slip layer. 1, 2, and then out. You're giving it a little bit short of an out, but that's okay. Next hand, on this one, I'll make you stay in for the 2 second, because right now you're doing like a 1 second. Any comments?
That's good to know because I wondered about that.
Probably the strength. Yeah, what is the strength difference? Strength is no different. It's really just the viscosity. So some people ask me, can you just build a whole nail out of Trinity? Abso-freaking-lutely, you totally can. You're just doing it in a lot more layers, because getting an arch when you're doing a product as runny as Trinity takes a bit more work. It's a bit more of a challenge of putting it on, putting it in the light, putting it on, putting it in the light. 1, 2, and then out. Thank you. Oops, touch the side of her finger. So right before I put this in, I'm going to make sure that that's wiped out. So again, once I get it in near the cuticle, I'm just glossing over, checking where I'm putting it down, seeing if there's anywhere that's a low spot. I can take some more and drizzle it somewhere if I need to. It's going to self-level, and then right before I go in, I'm going to get that out of that corner where it went in. Go all the way in. Okay, so that's all the product application. Once that hand's totally cured, I'm just going to pop the forms off and file it. So now we're going to do the other hand while she's curing that one. So back to Balance Clear. And I'm going to go back to my oval brush. Oval brush. I always like to give it a little wipey wipe. Okay, and doing the extension portion. So working right here in the middle. This is my middle of the nail. So there'll be less bubbles if your balance is warm as well. It's another good reason to make your balance a little bit warmer. I don't get as many bubbles working in natural, which I really like. I like the feel of natural as well. Like it has a different feel on the tips. It's hard to describe. It's a little bit more clickety-clackety if you've been wearing nails long enough to know the clickety-clackety. I would say it's a higher pitch clickety-clackety.
Sound like a crazy person. It's a higher pitch.
It's a higher pitch clickety-clackety. Totally.
I'm just like sitting there and the light comes back on.
That's okay. You can't overcure it, so.
Okay, I'll just hang out down here.
You can totally hang out. All right, so this one, my form moved, which is no bueno. So I'm going to repeat, put it in the right place. So it's kind of interesting, like, to go back and look. I've been apparently doing these videos for a stupid amount of time now. And, you know, times change. Like, the products I use change. The techniques change a little bit. So watching an older video can be entertaining, but it doesn't mean it's how I do it now. I do still like to build that little bit of glitter. Try to make it go away. I do still like to build, like I said, with natural. But since we don't have any in stock, I was like, okay, I really should show you all how to do it with something that a lot of people have already, which is balance. And there are coverage color balance. And so if you're doing a whole nail extension with a coverage color, you do have a matching or a similar Trinity. So you can actually do it all with a coverage color if you really wanted. I like the adhesion better with the clears. I feel like they actually adhere just slightly better. I mean, you have to be filing this stuff off day in and day out to really know the difference, but I can tell the difference. I feel like I just get just a tinge better adhesion with a non-colored gel. Not that it's dramatic, where it's like, okay, if someone wanted a French, like an extended nail bed French, obviously I'm going to be using a full coverage gel to do that. And when they come in for the fill, it's going to be such a slight difference. It's really not going to matter, but I notice it because I am in this world all day. It's one of the reasons I still do nails. Like I'm one of the only distributors I know. I'm really good friends with a lot of distributors of a lot of product lines. And I'm one of the only ones I know that actually still do gels in the salon all day, every day. And it's partially because I like my people. And my husband's building a house, so he's not bringing any income in, so I gotta pay all the bills. And I want to know the product. Like I think as a distributor, it's really hard to say, oh, I do it like this if you don't do nails all day, every day. And I still do nails all day. So I figure things out and, you know, come up with different techniques and do different stuff because I'm still in it all day. So I'm really good friends with lots of distributors, and I'm a little jealous sometimes of the time that they have because they don't do nails. It's true. I would probably have a much cooler YouTube channel with like intros and all kinds of stuff. So if any of you are bored and want to create a really neat intro for me for my YouTube channel, I'd totally dig that and throw it up there because it's just something I don't have because this is not something I've been able to do.
How long does a full set like this take? When will you get the natural in stock?
So natural is on order. I'm hoping that the chemist will make me my batch this week or next week. So we're going to go in for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and come out. So we'll have natural back in stock. If they make it next week, I'm guessing they'll ship it the following week. So not next week I should have it, but maybe the following week if they are quick about it. Go ahead and put that in. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and now I'm going to do her thumb. So like I said, if I wanted to, at this point, they are set up enough that I could give them a little bit of a pinch. If you have pinching clips and they're, you know, she wouldn't fit pinching clips. Her nails are a little wide. She's not a model. But if you had pinching clips and you're using a model or something, you definitely could put pinching clips down at that point.
She said, how is the house building coming along? That's super cool that your husband can build it.
Yeah, he's out trenching right now. So he's trenching for electric.
Is he there now?
He is there right now. It's a slow process right now because this is the part of a build that he's never really had to do himself. Like, he's a flipper. He's flipped lots of places. And so he can turn an old place into a new looking place, but he's only built from the ground up he's helped a couple of friends build their houses. But it's, you know, like he hasn't done a whole bunch of foundation work. So I feel like once we get past, there's like a piece of something in that. I feel like once we get past the foundation and like, you know, it's going to have in-floor heating, which is going to make it so cozy for us in the salon. Because I can have, nice. I know, it's going to be fabulous. So once he gets past kind of that step and like he gets the walls up, because we're going to do ICF, which is like giant foam Legos that you fill with concrete. Also something new for him, but he went and spent a week with someone in September on how to do it. So he's pretty confident he can do that, no problem. But after we get the walls up and the roof on, then it's just like interior walls and finishes and stuff and electric and plumbing. And he's done all that, no problem. So I think it's just getting this beginning portion that's going to take a while. And then it's just a big building because there's shop and salon and giant garage on the first floor. And like our RV garage is super exciting. 3 seconds. Because we have a trailer and we made the RV garage a double pull through so he can pull in, park his truck, we can close the garage up, and then like the next day he can unhook it. So we have a lot of times where we'll drive in like practically in the middle of the night. So he can pull in, park, go to sleep, and in the morning I can unload and it not be like in the rain.
So nice.
I know. All right, so now I'm back to my Trinity. So I'm going to do this fill layer. So someone asked how long a full set like this takes. I book 2 hours for a full set usually because it's not an overlay and I have to finish files. So 2 hours, and it includes art and all of that, usually is plenty of time. If I'm doing a longer nail, it's like 2.5.
Connie said, thank you, Jess. Have a great day. Also appreciate your education and knowledge. And then someone said the gap on the thumb form, no problem.
Go ahead and put that in. The gap on the thumb, no, it's no problem. It can have a little bit of a gap. It's not going to be a problem. All the way out. There you go. 1, 2. yeah, it's the gap form. The gap is a very small gap, and the product was going right in between it. So if you have an extreme nail biter, you're actually going to have a gap on purpose. And you're putting product, unfortunately, on the skin, but it's how it is. And it's not, you're not going to create a contact dermatitis situation in one appointment unless they're already allergic to it. But you actually have to push your form and push the bump of the skin. So if you've done a nail biter nail, you know what I'm talking about. They have that bump in front of their nail because it's bitten all the way past it. So how do you accomplish that? That's running a little bit. That's going to be a fun filing situation. Go ahead and put that in. So you have to like push it down, and like if they're a nail biter, it's like way up high, and you're actually going to push that form down and pull it and close it. And a good sticky form is ideal for that. Oh, she's wiggling. Try not to wiggle too much. I just got gel in here.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what I did to it, but nothing's.
She's trying. Oh, you hit the. There you go.
I'm like, nothing's working.
You're like, oh, the comments disappeared. So, very important, if you get it up into the cuticle, you use your orange wood stick. I always have orange wood sticks in stock because they are essential to life. And I source them out to try to get them for you at a really good price, because it still blows my mind sometimes when I'm like, maybe I'll stop carrying them. And I look online, I'm like, God, like these people are selling them for like $6 a bag. And I'm like, no. So, okay, in you go. How you doing, Eileen? We always like to sing to Eileen. I know someday she's going to be like, if you sing one more time, I'm never talking to you again.
Why haven't you sung this time?
Because I'm holding myself back. In my mind, I'm singing it. It's happening. I think if I had a child named Eileen, I would do it to them all the time, and they would not think it was funny or amusing whatsoever.
Would probably not think it
Yeah,
was.
they would probably be like, if I hear you sing that one more time, I will not. Yeah, oh, that little tiny gap. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, you don't have to be crazy with your form. Now, if she had no skin there and it like her finger just like dipped down and there was like void space, then yeah, you'd have to keep cutting your form until you got up to where it was smooth. But her skin is exactly that height, so it's totally fine. All right. Is that a little bubble right? It was. All right, maybe just a smidge right here. I don't want it to run. So it's a little bit tricky. You got to get Trinity in that light quickly because it will start to run, especially if you're warm. Alrighty.
Is this going to get hot?
Yeah, you'll just do 3 seconds and take it out, and then you'll keep going. Did you start to feel?
No.
Oh, good. Yeah, like I said, I think these lights don't get quite as hot quite so fast, but it does cure fully. So I don't know if it just takes a little bit longer to cure. But now she's getting a little warm. So I know it cures. It just takes, I feel like it takes a little longer, which is kind of nice because it eliminates the heat.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have icicle fingers. Now you could be Elsa.
Like I'm frozen.
Yeah, very frozen.
I thought it was Ella for the longest time. So Brianna and I have been calling her Ella. So she has like it's an Ella doll now. It's not Elsa. We call her Ella. That's
funny. All right, I'm going to switch out my bit. I'm going to get one of my hand-to-dandy zebra bands. These are my favorite. I sourced them. They're coarse band, but they aren't bumpy, so they remove really, really well. How to get these off, which people always ask me, use the back of your brush, hold on to your band, and just push, and it'll pop right out. So that's how I get them off. And then I'll typically put them on with it like this, push it down, and then pull my thing up just a little bit. All right. I have a little gel on this paper now. Is it a double-sided? No. Sometimes I have a double-sided one and I just flip it over. But this one's not. All right. So I'm going to full speed just remove the free edge. And she typically goes, I can see through the gel. So she typically goes just a little bit past fingertip, and especially because they're going to be growing. That's probably still too long for her. So I started doing this where I touch the finger and I rotate my hand, and it gives me a gauge. And I started doing it like forever ago. I was a really new nail tech when I started doing that. And I didn't even know I did it for the longest time. It's just like a mindless thing that I would do. And I had a client once go, "What are you doing?" I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? And she's like, when you touch the end of my finger. I'm like, what do you mean I touched the end? I didn't even know I did it.
That's so funny.
I know. I was like, she's like, there. And I'm like, oh, I'm just kind of getting a gauge on how far it is compared to the one next to it. So I can see, it's not perfect because in the end, I line up and look cuticle to tip. So it can change because your nail bed's going to be longer on one versus the other. But it's a really good starting place. So I don't know where I learned it. I just figured one day I just started doing it, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, whatever works.
I know, it's kind of weird, but I still do it, apparently, because I'm still checking it.
I'll catch the replay tonight after work.
All right, Kathy, have a good day. I know, I'm in the middle of the day. Well, so are the nail techs in the middle of their day. It's a Friday, so everybody's working, but that's fine. I'm doing this also for my YouTubers, which a lot of the time they're in other countries, and so if I was able to figure out how to go live in all the places, which I found an app to do it, it does not work well because it doesn't let me like see the chats or anything like that.
I mean, it can be worse than
I know, that's
Facebook.
true. I know. It is really annoying that you can't see anything. So I'm just quickly doing the surface because I actually really don't like with my hand file to file on a shiny surface. It makes a weird noise. I'm so weird. The noise bothers me, so I will often just hit the top of this. And it's also slipperier when you're hand filing on a slick surface. I don't know. I'm weird. I can tell you.
I mean, it's okay. You know what you know.
I've got my weird things. We all have our weird things. That's my weird thing, okay?
You do it enough that I feel like
I can have weird things.
you can.
I'm allowed.
I mean, if you wouldn't have said anything, no one would think, well, I wouldn't think anything.
They're probably thinking, why are you doing such a weird, like, middle of the random just hitting it? I'm like, I just do. It's a thing. All right. And then these are sticky because it's Trinity on top, and Trinity has tacky layer. But as you can see how shiny Trinity is, it's super shiny as a top coat. So you have no problem using that as a top coat. It's non-porous, so if you have a hairstylist and you don't have any other non-porous top coats and you're getting staining, you can use it as a top coat for them as well. So it's a really amazing, like, all-in-one gel. It just does so many fabulous things.
Is Larissa at school too?
She is at school.
Wow, the whole house to yourself?
Yeah. Well, she goes to school in Monroe, so he has her going there. We put her in school there so that when we move there, which hopefully will be next year sometime, she'll have friends that are people that she knew there, because she didn't go to school during COVID. Nobody did.
Yeah.
And she was homeschooling technically during that time. I'm just going to move the paper while I file because really it's going to create too much dust to be part of the... Oh, let me... my weird thing.
Well, that's good, though. Does she like it?
She does. She loves it. She loves being back at school, for sure.
I guess it works out because Jared can take her when he goes to work. And...
That's the plan, is that he takes her and then he stays there and builds the house all day. So she was going to the property because we had the trailer on the property, so she can go hang out inside. But because we don't have electric hooked up, it was getting cold. So now she typically will go after school to hang out at the library and do homework and stuff. And then he'll go and pick her up from there and they'll come home. So it works out. All right, so now we're going to hand filing. So I am still a huge hand filer. I hand file all full sets, very important. So I'm gonna pull the skin away on the side, come up underneath, and I'm looking for it to go straight to her natural sidewall. And then I'm going to roll up, because if I don't roll up, then I get a bowed spot. Roll up, and then I create a completely great, it's straight down, slightly tapered. I always do slightly tapered because once you add your color and everything, it's going to look flared if you don't slightly taper it.
I was thinking that too. It would look flared when you add my color.
Yeah, it looks flared. So if you look at this, it's not completely straight. You do get a slight tapering, but when you add color, it'll look flared. So, okay, after I've done the sidewalls, I'm going to go through and completely smooth out between the nail and her cuticle. And the trick of this is don't go back and forth. Finish this corner and then move on. If you do this and then go over here and then go over here and then go here, you need to have a method. So this is my filing method. So side to side, then cuticle. Then I'm going to hold it up and look down the barrel because I need to thin out the free edge. And you don't bounce. If you do this, you're creating divots and it's taking you twice as long. Hold your file like this, okay, so you get a good downward pressure. And glide along the surface of the nail, looking down. I need to look this direction because you don't know where the high spots are if you're looking from the top. You got to look down the center of the nail when you're filing. And you want to stay on the front half of the nail primarily because you don't want to be flattening out your free edge. Okay, once you do that, then I can come and I can work on the middle of the nail, which I'm going to switch to my 180 at this point because I don't want to take off her arch too much. I just want to blend and smooth everything in. So now I'm looking at it this direction. I want to make sure that my arch is in the right place, that I have a good arch, which you don't need necessarily if you are doing an overlay. But when you're doing a full set, especially realistically, this is a 50% nail. Her nail bed is almost 50% of her extension. I can have her look at that and tell me, is that going to be too long? A little too long. So now I'm going to go ahead and shorten it. Another week and a half grow out. Check again. Good. Okay. So check it on the first nail because you don't want to file and shorten and do all of the shaping on the entire hand only to find out at the thumb when they're like, those are all just a little too long still. Can you shorten them? So it really sucks. It takes too much time. So do the first nail, make sure you know the length that they're going for. And have them look both sides because most of the time this is the way that they're looking to see how long they want to see how grow out is. So have them check both sides and then you can check it out. Jay's on Facebook and I tagged you in this. He might be watching. Hello, Jay. I don't know. Maybe not. Some husbands jump on. Is Jay ever on his Facebook?
Yeah, but he's probably...
Being a daddy?
I told him he had to get the girls ready before I got home because I have a buying meeting this morning that he's coming to.
A buying meeting?
I know.
How's the life of owning a boho boutique?
Busy. Well, actually, I don't work every day at the store, so this is I haven't been all week. No, I was there Monday.
How many employees you guys got now?
Just one because they reduced the hours because of COVID still.
Oh, because of the mall.
Yeah, so we only work 11. We're only open 11 to 7.
Wow.
And then weekends are 11 to 8, so it's really not that long. It's only 8 hours, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, so just one, but she's full-time, so she gets a full 40, and then...
Well, and it probably gives you guys time if you need to get in early and, like, reset something.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. All right, so now I can feel this one and remember how short she wanted it, and I can kind of gauge the same kind of length for this one. So look down the barrel, glide, thin out, glide, thin out. Okay, and I'm going to switch to my 180 side just to make sure everything's blended. I'm going to check side view, see, okay, there's a bump there, so I want to make sure that that's good. And this is a busy mom with 2 toddlers, so I'm not going to make them crazy thin. Her natural nail is going to grow out, and then they'll be really thin to her own natural nail, and she will have really thin nails, but we got to get a good shape in this so they withstand life. I don't do broken nails, but I want them to still be, they're incredibly thin looking down the barrel, but that arch is what's going to give it all its strength. So looking down the barrel, you guys can see that they are good and thin, if you can see that. So hard to like, how do I stick a finger in there to show you how thin they are because it gets so dusty. And it's hard to see, but they're good and thin. So this is the thickness there before I file, and this is the thickness after I file. Is that a good angle? Can you see the difference?
Oh,
there you go.
Before I go, what forms were you using?
I use the Akzentz Pro Tab forms. The newest ones we have are crappy, but we are able to replace them. So as soon as the new batch comes in, when people place another order, they can say, hey, I ordered forms on this date. Can you send me a new batch? So I would say if anyone's ordered forms from us in the last month, so from the beginning of February, they're the newer batch and they are no bueno. So we will be getting new ones in.
She might have already been gone and might have
Pull this in.
dropped the ball on that one.
That's all right. And rotate up. So come underneath, rotate up. So you get a completely straight sidewall. Come underneath.
I didn't realize you thought about all these things when you were doing this. Look down the barrel, make it flat. I mean, like, I guess, like,
It's just like a magic wand. It just happened.
Like, it makes sense, but I guess, like, just hearing you, like, it's like, oh, she's over there doing work. I'm just sitting here, so maybe that's why.
You probably think I'm sleeping, but I'm usually
Well, you
not.
could probably do this in your sleep.
I mean, I think I have. One time I had pulled so many all-nighters, I think, but it was in the old shop. I don't remember what was going on. Maybe it was before a competition or something. I don't know. But I remember someone coming in going, you know, these looked really good for the fact that you were asleep the last time I came in. And I was like, thanks, sorry. And they're like, no, it's fine. It looked fine. But yeah, you were asleep. I was like, awesome. I try not to do that, really. All right, so again, I've thinned down the free edge. Look at the side. You can see where your arch is. Then I can flip my file over to my 180 side, smooth everything, make sure everything is exactly how I want it to go. I would not go any smoother on this than a 180. If you try to file this with a 240 and then apply your colored gel, you're going to end up with shrinking. If you hit it with a buffer, you're definitely going to end up with shrinking. So don't go finer than a 180 or you're going to get shrinking. And then you're going to be like, why are my nails shrinking? Why is my color shrinking? That's why. Too smooth. That's one of the reasons. Sometimes it's just not mixed. Okay. And sometimes if I'm like not 100% sure, I will get out this and make sure that we're totally smooth from side to side. So I want to make sure that everything's really blended and I don't hit any spots that are going to get stuck. I want to make sure there's no notch right here either. That's a very common thing with sculpting is people get notches. And you want to pull this back and check for a notch and make sure that you have no notches because it's the easiest way for things to crack is on a notch. Okay, next. Got to speed up my filing a little bit. So if you keep track of your time, I know that by about 20 till, which is 20 till my next appointment, I want to be nearing finishing filing because I want to be able to apply color. So since it's a 2-hour time slot that I booked, that is essential. So keep track of your watch or for me, I very highly recommend a clock behind your client's head so that you can glance up. She didn't even know it was there, did you?
I didn't know.
She just turned around. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, there's a clock behind my client's head. So I can,
placed.
It is. So I can glance. It's like literally to the right of her head.
It's very strategic.
Yeah. And so I can glance up and see where I'm at. And if you keep your time, then you're not going to run over on your next client. I mean, I even surprise myself sometimes when I'm like, I really typically within 3 minutes of the 1 hour mark on most of my services, which kind of cracks me up, but it's because I'm always, I'm always looking up to try to make sure I'm on time. Unless I'm suddenly having to do something extra special with nail art or something like that, I can typically finish my clients within 3 minutes of that hour mark.
Tracy and I were just talking about that, how you're always on time. Yeah, we were both talking about how there's never been a time that you're ever even 5 minutes late.
I really, really, really try. And I mean, I will usually, if I know I'm running late because I have a couple, I have a long nail client who is a hairstylist and I am always, so this one, her nail bed's quite a bit shorter on her pointer finger. Do you guys see that? So I don't want to shorten it as this because then she literally, I mean, it's all the way to the fingertip. So I'm going to go middle. So I'm going to shorten it a little bit, but not all the way because look how much I would have to take off. and then it's going to look a little bit weird for her. So I'm going to take some off though. So, you know, when you're in a model situation in a competition, they have to be, all 3 of these nails need to be the exact same length. In real life, sometimes that's way closer. That's really good. It is still slightly longer, but it's pretty close. So
Like no one else but you is going to notice.
Right. True. So, you know, with some clients, they'll be like, but this nail, you know, if they flip it over and they're looking from, this nail seems longer than this nail. Well, it's not when you look at it from the top. And you have to remember that what you want to be looking at is not from the back, it's from the top. And so, yes, the extension on this nail is quite a bit longer now than this nail. But when you cover them both in the same color, they're even. And that's what you're going for. So that's important when it comes to shaping. And every time you shorten, you've got to recheck and rethin out that free edge. So it's really important that you're constantly doing that. So now, when I put that one next to it, this seems like a monster nail because it's way longer. So now I've got to shorten this one up a little bit. So you're working towards a happy medium. Yeah, you're working towards a happy medium of nails that are the same length. It also, her nail grows a little like this. So I'm going to work on giving it less of a natural angle by counteracting the shape a little bit. So you're kind of purposely making it crooked to make it not look crooked. Does that make sense? It's just natural nails. Natural nails are fun because they're all different. But it's just learning the tricks to make them look good.
That's why I come to you. You know them all.
Okay, so push down the skin, get in that sidewall, and come up from the bottom flat, straight out, and then roll up.
Are these two the same and I'm just not realizing?
They might be slightly different.
Oh yeah, there's pink in that one. Okay, that's the one I want. Or should I do this one? There's like 3 that I'm like, I've been looking at this whole time, but I can't. I just like, is this one boring?
No. They're all gonna be fun.
Okay, it's between that one or this one. Oh no, don't come out. I feel like if I did this one though, I could do pink on my other nails, which would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's got lots of pastel-y colors, which is good for spring.
This one I would do like brown, and then I feel like my nails would be very brown.
Yeah, it's Easter. You want to stick with the
let's do
springy
that one.
colors.
Okay. I've decided. Look at that. It's taken me an hour and a half, and I finally made a decision. I've been looking at them this whole time, like contemplating.
All right, so that hand is fully filed, ready to apply color. So I'm going to switch angle because I know sometimes people like to switch the angle of what they're looking at. We'll see if we can file with this angle. Let me see if it needs moved up a little bit. And see if this helps you guys see things a little bit different. All right, so I'm going to roll up, come in flat and roll up. Come in flat from the side.
This is good.
A little different angle, right?
Mm-hmm. I've been watching.
Good.
Oh gosh, obviously not the right thing. Right? That's the best ASMR. What's an
I don't know what that is, Evelyn. Help us. Okay, and then look down the barrel. Evelyn's my cousin.
Don't leave us hanging. What is it?
All right, am I in view? I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing.
Does she do nails too?
She does not. So she's just hanging out because...
That's funny. I watch your videos sometimes too, just because I'm like, oh, what is she doing? Like, quiet noises are so soothing now.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So I have a client who was talking about this the other day, and just as you said that, I was like, gonna tell you this story. So my client's like, oh, you should make a video and just, you don't even have to say anything, just file. And I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, it's like a thing. And I'm like, no way. So she's pulling up all these videos and someone's literally just like this.
can see that.
I don't understand it. Like, you tell my daughter that. You tell my daughter that, me, other hand, and she'll be like, oh my God, I hate the sound of a file. And hey, look at that. That was right on.
That's because you guys are like around it all the time.
I just find it hilarious. She's like, oh yeah, you can
I
just.
think I'm going to mess with my clients' minds and start index on their left.
Well, it's, so you start on the pinky. On this side, the reason I don't do that is because if I'm polishing from this nail first, I'm going to hit the wet nails with my hand. So that's why I start with the index finger on this side, is because otherwise you risk hitting wet nails. And so that is why. That is why.
There are reasons for everything.
There are reasons for everything. I know. You just... Well, and I'll give a shout out to my my friends at Evergreen. I believe there's a class Evergreen, and they typically pull up my videos. So watching it in school, if you are watching me in school, hello, students. You too can be a nail tech. Important things. Get in that cuticle. You want to make sure that it's completely smooth all the way around. Your color is going to fall into that gap, so you want to make sure that there's no ridge. If you're not sure if there's a ridge, check with your pusher. Your pusher will collect any dust that's in there, so it's kind of nice if you have the time just to do that before you do your color anyway. Gives your nail a little bit of a pushback. See how thick that is after I shortened it? So thick. So, oopsies. That's how close this camera is, my friends. See, when people are like, can you zoom in more? I'm like, it's already really close. And you wonder, is it too thin? You can give your nail a squeeze, and they're definitely have a really good arch, so you can thin that free edge out, and you still have quite a, there's no pushback. It's strong now. So look at it from the side. Yes, I know. I'm working on a binder, so I've been working on it at night when I'm done with like work. If I'm not on my computer working on house, figuring out window stuff.
I mean, of course not. Why
But
would you ever just sit?
well, because I'm trying to like put them in a binder so that, because with the clear ones, they're impossible to really see what they look like when you look at it in the box. So in a binder, I'm laying it flat and glue sticking it onto a piece of paper so that when you flip the binder, you can actually see what each one looks like. Why are you shaking your head at me?
You're just always
I know, I have to be. But it'll make you all happy.
You know it well, yes. But I feel like they're cute the way they are.
They are, but it is really hard to see. Like a design like this, the foil is like they overlap, and it's really impossible to see what it looks like until you take it out and open it. So,
well, yeah, and then you probably get really tired of rolling it back up.
I mean, it doesn't happen too often, but it'll just be way better. So I'm working on way better. All right, so I am like nearing the end of my filing times. I'm going to stop talking and speed file because I need to start getting color on. Do you know what solid color you want? Use that hand that I'm finished with and look at your colors so that when I'm finished, you can say, I want this color. Yeah.
Do you have an idea what color would look good with this?
Sure.
Like a pink of some sort?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm right-handed, but for some reason this thing's really challenging. Why do none of these look like they match it?
We'll get a different thing out. Yeah, because those are not very many colors. Those are like just some of the newer colors. There's like a way bigger thing of pinks.
Oh, guacamoles. Look at them all.
Yeah, those are all the pinks.
I feel like endless. What do you think?
And that would be nice.
Come back. Come back. Or vibrant.
Also a good choice.
I feel like we should do endless. It's a little lighter and brighter.
Okay.
Sold.
Decision made. Good job.
Look at me. Come back and it's like a new me.
I
Make
know.
decisions.
I know. You're going to remind yourself what it's like to wash your hair with nails again. Are you so excited?
So nice.
It's like the worst part when you have no nails is like scratching something or washing your hair. Like,
Yeah.
it's just not as pleasant.
I know. I worry that now Jay's gonna be like, "Can you scratch my back?" No.
Just do it occasionally so then he is happy that you have nails.
He literally scratches mine every night for me to fall asleep. He's the best.
Aw, that's so cute. How long you guys been married now?
What? 4 years in August.
So fun. Can you believe I've been married for like 7?
God, I saw that. I was like, oh.
We were just talking about it last night, and he was like, yeah, a few more years, we're to 10. I'm like, okay, that's weird. It does not feel like 10.
Somewhere really cool. Where have you not been?
Oh, lots of places. We're supposed to go to Greece in September because we had booked the cruise like a million years ago.
Was it on a cruise?
Yeah, well, we're supposed to. We booked it like before COVID to go to do the Greek islands. And so it's been a long time waiting, but they have to lighten some of their requirements because we're not going to meet them. Like, it was no problem. We went to Europe for Christmas, and we had all had it in October. So it was no problem because you can get your COVID passport, but we have known too many people with vaccine injuries, so we're not going to get the vaccine. So they're going to either have to end all the requirements or we're going to push it again.
I got vaccine injuries?
Yeah, like deaths and bleeding and blood clots and all kinds of things. Yeah, and really early on, his aunt was the first one. She ended up in the hospital with myocarditis and was in like the ICU. Yeah, in the ICU for like 6 weeks. Had to have blood, had to have heart surgery from it. So really early on, we were like, yeah, no. And so at the beginning, it was a little tough. But once you've had it in Europe, they consider it natural immunity. They're like, you have immunity just fine. So you can get we have our European passport, which lets us into everything when we were in Europe. But too much. I mean, I'm all for people that want to get it. Go for it. No problem. Everyone is their own person. They can do their own decisions.
Yeah.
But there's a pediatrician's office. One of my friends posted that they're now not approving kids for sports from that pediatrician because you have to get like a sports. I didn't know this because my child is not sporty. You have to get a sports clearance from your doctor, apparently. And they're not approving any kids that have had the vaccine unless they get a full blood and heart workup now because they've seen too many problems. So one of my friends posted that picture from that. I saved it because I thought it was really interesting.
I'm so happy the girls are so young.
Yeah, don't have to make decisions like that. I just, like everybody, we just want it all to be done and over with, right?
Everything go back to normal, yeah. We went out to eat though, and didn't have to wear a mask. That was like exciting.
Yeah, we go to bingo because we're super fancy. Our friends like to bingo, so we go bingo with our friends because then we can hang out with them. It's really fun. So we've done it a few times, and it's on the reservation, and so they dropped the mandate like a week before the States. Yeah. So we went there, and we were like, oh my gosh, we can like chill. Yeah, that was really nice. So. But, when I've traveled to other states for whatever, like, it's not a thing. It hasn't been a thing for so long. I'm like, our numbers are not so drastically different that it should have been a thing. But
that's what my mom said when
they did it. There's nothing. Anywhere. Right, nowhere. So it's kind of frustrating because I'm like, I would understand if our numbers were like 10 times better than all these places, but they're not. All right, you said endless?
Yes, please.
Endless, where are you? Maybe it's out here. It could already be on my table because it's pink season. It's right there. Just as I thought. I think I did a set yesterday with foils where we did a whole bunch of pinks. And Endless was one of them.
Endless love.
All right, so here we go. And we're doing, what foil are we doing? This one?
Yeah, you think that will look good?
Yeah, so this is the complementary color to it. That's fine. But typically, I will choose, I'm going to do this on Koi, which is like a sheer white. because it will be the most blending, I think. So that way, well, maybe a light blue even. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do it this jade color, jaded. Okay, decision made. So I'm going to do jaded, which is like a sheer, very light green. So because typically the very edges of your foil might show, like they're not going to blend, especially because you have very rounded nails now. They're not going to blend all the way to the side, so you'll see a little shadow on the side, and I think this will blend because it's the color of the background.
I trust you.
She trusts me. Which ones do you want foil on? Do you want foil on the middle two or like these two?
Let's do the middle two.
All right. Let's turn this back around. You guys can tell me what one you like better. Huh?
I made so many decisions today. Woo.
You're done for the day.
Well, no, I have to go buy now.
Oh, that is a lot of decisions.
Yeah.
Do you ever buy things and then go, ugh, that was a mistake. Nobody wants it?
Yeah.
That's sucky.
There is a solid shirt in our store right now that I don't know what I was thinking when that happened.
Oh, careful. So I'm good on time. I got about 15 minutes left, which should give me just enough time to get these done. But it means that I'm polishing at a little bit quicker space. So, you know, when people, I've taught a class about, you know, saving time and time in the salon and how do you, you know, work with time. And it's super important, that clock above your client's head, because you need to learn how to glance up at it and know how long it takes you to do things. At the very beginning, when I teach people, okay, if you want to speed up your time, you need to figure out where you're taking your time. So first, get out a piece of paper. And for your first, you know, not necessarily a week, but maybe your first 20 clients that you're going to analyze, you're going to write down how long did it take you to prep? How long did it take until, you know, and I consider prep everything up until you're putting gel on. So my prep process on a 1 hour appointment is half an hour. So I want to be ready to put gel on at the half an hour mark. So if you are working back from maybe an hour and a half fill service, it might take you 45 minutes to get to where you're putting on your gel color, or you're doing your fill layer. So first thing you need to do is get out a piece of paper and write down like prep, color or fill application, and color application, because these are your three main steps, right? So how long does it take you to prep to get to the point where you are applying your fill color, your fill product? And then how long does that step take? And then how long does it take to apply your color and your nail art? So break down how long it's taking you for each step, and that way you can start to begin where you're taking a long time. I'm going to just get this little bit that is sticking out in my way. So this color is Jaded, this light green. It's like it is amazingly like jade. So you know how jade has that almost like translucent quality to it? It's very much like that. It's cool. Hold on, I got a drink.
What you drinking?
Diet Pepsi.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I asked.
I know. I'm really a creature of habit.
You know, maybe it changed. There was a minute there you tried to do Crystal Light.
I've done that where I've done, you know, I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do caffeine. So I did that. And then, yeah.
That lasted for a minute.
A minute. And I went back. I mean, I don't go through a lot of Diet Pepsi. I really go through the ice more than anything. So I go through like a gallon of ice a day. But when I'm talking for 2 hours, I'm going to be thirstier. So I purposely put more Diet Pepsi in it this time. Okay.
Oh, I have really been slacking on my job. Oh, good.
Oh, she moved her hand. So if your client moves their hand and goes into the cuticle, you're going to have to get your stick out and give it a little.
Sorry.
That's all right. And there's also a little bit of dust in this cuticle, I noticed. So I'm going to get rid of the dust at the same time so that I can get a little bit closer. You don't want to wipe with liquid typically, so I don't. I just dust, but to get real close into that cuticle, sometimes you got to get rid of that dust in there. And then draw a line, make sure it's even. Okay. This hand. And then we are going to talk about full coverage foils, which I did a video, I want to say last week, on full coverage foils. And I'm going to talk about it again and emphasize, because a lot of people went on a shopping spree and some did not get the correct thing. And I feel bad. And I tried to check with people, but I also think that, well, if they're following in, then they know what they did. So, and I do see that there's a little bit that went in the cuticle on this one. I'm just going to leave it for a second right before I go in the light. That's when I'm going to wipe it out, because it's like opening a floodgate. Once you've touched the cuticle and it's gone there, it's just going to keep going there. And so I try to wipe it out right before they come, right before she goes back in the light. So Luxio, because it is a non-solvent gel, it's a gel color. If I find a little spot like I did there where it was a little low, you can actually push a little bit of gel up in there, and then you can get that shape that you want. You're not going to have a problem with it wrinkling. It's going to cure perfectly fine, but you can actually use that to fill in a low spot without a problem. If you're using a gel polish, which is a gel mixed with polish like shellac and many other companies, you can smell it. If your bottle smells like nail polish, it's got a solvent-based product inside of it. If it has zero smell, it's going to be 100% gel, which is what Luxio is. Luxio has no smell. All right, so now before I go on the light, see how it moved on me even more? So I'm going to clean my stick off and make sure I go in there and wipe that out. Looks like there's a little bit actually from the first coat that I get in there, so I'll show you how to get rid of that before I top coat. I'm actually going to use my nipper and just cut that little bit of gel right out, and then there's nothing to pick at.
How long are you working today?
6, I think.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, well, it's Friday. Typically Thursday night's my late night, but yeah, just till 6.
Any fun plans?
Not tonight. We're gonna chill a little bit, clean the house. I have my friends in town tomorrow, so she's gonna come over, and we've been rewatching Outlander. So she's never seen it. So when she was here last time visiting a few weeks ago, we finished 1883, and then she's like, well, now what? Because it was the season finale. And I'm like, well, I'm going to rewatch Outlander. She's like, oh, I've never seen that. I'm like, all right, well, it's only 2 o'clock in the morning, so why don't we start it? So we were up until about 4. I got through the first couple episodes, and then I've been trying to keep pace so that she's watching it at home and I'm watching it, and so we're in about the same spot at the moment. And almost to where the new season, because there's a new season that just came out, but they go so long between seasons. They call it Droughtlander, and it's like sometimes 2 years between a season. And so I'm like, I just feel like there's 5 seasons of this that I don't remember all of it. So I've been rewatching it, which has been, it's been good, because I really have things that I'm like, oh my God, I totally did not remember that happening. And like major scenes. And I'm like, okay, well, it's a good thing I'm rewatching it. So I will be ready for the new season in a moment, which it's dropping weekly. So it's kind of nice because I'll get to watch like 3 in a row before I have to start waiting. All right. So now we're going into foil. Very essential. I have learned this has a little bit of cleanser on it. I am completely cleansing off. Oh, I don't need these ones. That one's not. Ignore that one. Just the ones that are going to have foil. I need to completely remove. So you can see that it has a little bit, it's translucent like jade is. That's fine. We're covering it up. Let me show you that little trick. There's that little tiny smidge of gel right here. I'm just going to very lightly get the point of my nipper in there. And you guys see that just came right out. So that way, now when I go to top coat, I have a completely smooth surface. Okay, so I am using So Sticky. This is my favorite one for full coverage. I've decided. Before I was saying, well, you could use this one or you could use quick stick it. And after doing so many of these now, this one is my favorite one. This one I get the best coverage, the best results for my transfer. But it is essential that you take off that tacky layer on the green, because the sticky layer, this is sticky, you can see that. That normally will melt in with the next layer of gel. This product does not melt with that layer. So you end up with a wet layer of gel and so sticky on top of it, and your foils will just flake off. Maybe not right away, but you'll get calls and comments from customers and texts that say, look what's happening to my foil. And it's like just completely separating. And it was entirely frustrating for the last couple of years trying to figure out what is going on. And I finally had one day, I had an aha moment when someone came in and I'm filing it and a huge piece flaked off, and I touched the nail and I could feel the tacky surface of that colored gel still. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just need to take that off. So I started taking it off, and now like mine, you know, they look hot mess because they're over a month old and I need to redo them. But the foil still is perfect on them. So that is what we want. All right, so you want to cure that for at least, my timer on my lamp is set for 60, but you want to cure it at least 30 seconds. So then I'm going to put my foil down, and I'm going to touch it from the middle all the way down usually, and then start to pull it to the side. You're going to get a little wrinkling, especially if the nails are not flat, which is fine. And then just keep rubbing, and you're going to see it separate for you. Do you see how that's separated right there? It's going to separate for you, and it's just going to come off. I've had people that go, it's not coming off. And I'm like, well, you're not rubbing long enough. So keep rubbing until it starts to come off, and then you can lift. But I try to get it as far back in there as I can. Ah! Okay, and then press down where any creases were. And you can touch the end a little bit if you find a spot, but you can see how nice that jaded blended in to that background. Do you see that? You don't even see it. So then, again, I'm just going to press this straight down. And depending on the nail shape, you'll get more or less wrinkles. Some are going to have more wrinkles, like this one is quite wrinkly because it is such a rounded nail shape on the top. But you just blend it, get it as far out there as you can. You can use a rubber, we have some cuticle tools from Luxio that have like a rubber end. They're the old school cuticle pushers, and you can use those. But if when you're doing this, you go to pull it and it's not pulling up, there we go. Then you need to keep pressing, okay? And you can go back in the corners if you want to, but the reason I choose the color I choose is because it blends into the background. You're not really gonna see a difference of color. Is that cool? Is that helpful to you all? Hi, Eileen. I love you. Is that comment based on the reason why I start with the left? My weird position of hands. All the reasons I do the things I do. Sometimes when I think back of like, you know, I used to have a salon in my house. I had a townhouse, and it was the very bottom floor. It was kind of like, it's in Redmond. They have these townhouses that are, you have a home office that's street side. And so I had an old client who needed a write-off, and so she wanted to have like a place where she could do like trunk shows and just order some clothes in and do like a fun party and have a trunk show. So she actually pitched in, oh, there's my next client. Almost done. She actually pitched in and would pay rent for the front space that she renovated and did as her trunk show thing. And then did the other. Do you still have, I did foil on you last time?
Yes.
Bring your fingers. Okay, so it's a really good example. So,
That's so cute.
one of the things I tell people is a lot of time in my class, so this is a nice crown out run. This is a metallic foil, whereas this one is a full coverage foil, okay? Mm-hmm. This is really important. With the full coverage foil, you're gonna use So Sticky. With the metallic foil, that's when you wanna use your stick it in a pot, okay? That is the difference. I had a lot of people watch my foil video and then order the stick it in a pot, but they were trying to do full coverage foils, and they're like, it's not working. And I'm like, well, what stick it did you have? And they have the wrong one. So now you know, Stick it in a pot is for the metallic ones, and stick it in the bottle is for the So Sticky is for your stuff. So I'm grabbing out my Trinity again. So I like to use Trinity over my foils because Trinity has, clean my brush, has bonding gel built in. So it is going to bond to your foil and be their best fight of making sure your foils look perfect in a month, okay? So I use Trinity, and I'm going to cap that edge. Just want to make sure I get all the way around. I filed the edge really quickly. I don't know if you even saw that. Did I do it? I think I did it. That's why it's dusty. So the reason it got dusty is because I very quickly file the edges before I do this. I want to remove the foil just from the very sides and the free edge so that when I put my when I put my Trinity down, it bonds. For those of you who have known Akzentz for decades, like me, Trilite is the UV version of Trinity. It's not around anymore because, of course, everything was replaced with the LED version. Go ahead and put that in there for a second for me. And I'm going to top coat. So now I'm just using my standard Luxio gloss on the other ones. So it's just faster for me to apply. I could do Trinity on all of them, but Luxio gloss is just faster for me. So, and then I can give them all a full cure. There we go. Oh, this got bumped. Okay, so she bumped this one on the way in the light or something, so there's a bump, so I'm going to redo it.
Can you see that?
I can see it in the line of light.
I was going to say, I got 4 eyes and I couldn't see it.
There was a spot where it was not even anymore. So just did another quick layer of Trinity, unless I bumped it, which I guess is all possible. All right, so again, I'm just very quickly going to file the very edges of this nail just to get the foil off the edge if there's any on the very edge, because I want it to be gel sticking to gel and not gel sticking to foil on the edges. On top, it's fine. I just really like that seal of the edge. So the foil collection, I believe, is called Elegant Marble. I know I'm going to have questions on what foil collection this one is. Elegant Marble, which is great if you struggle with trying to get a marbled effect on your client. You don't have to struggle. You just need some So Sticky. And you, too, can have a really cool marble effect. She laughs.
Infomercial Jess.
Apparently my voice is soothing enough for some like husbands that they'll be like, I hear Jess, and they'll be in bed, and I've had a couple people tell me this. It's so funny. I'm like, why do I hear Jess? And then they'll be like, I'm sorry, I'll turn it down. No, it's okay. I'm like, oh, great, now I'm putting husbands to sleep too.
I mean, if it's not your voice, it's the nail file.
Right, so apparently I need to create a whole channel of just filing in silence. I find that hilarious, but
It's
hey.
probably not soothing for you, but I feel like it's like rain just over and over again for someone that doesn't listen to it.
Right, and I mean, it's totally, I get it. I mean, so she was showing me that there is a channel, like this one girl makes a channel of just all these sounds, just continual sounds. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that was a thing. Interesting. The things you just don't know sometimes.
She's probably making millions.
Right? I know. I don't have my channel monetized because I mean, people have a hard time finding it. Like, I put the hashtags on them. I don't know what YouTube does, but maybe because it's not monetized, they can't find it when they search for it. I don't know. Something's up. And I'm very sorry that because I get people that will be like, oh my gosh, I just found your YouTube channel. And I can't tell you how many times I have searched for like a full set of gel and can't find anyone doing a full set of gel. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
The internet. Squeaky clean.
It's squeaky clean. Now I just go around the edges real quick, make sure that there's nothing sticking down. Sometimes your top gloss will run to the side. I don't like it. Okay, and then I'm going to always, this is very important, always take your E-file and come up under the free edge. Now, it's not important in this one for the same reason it might be in a fill. In a fill, this step is very important because you want to remove the natural nail on the free edge. Natural nail is what curls up, or I'm sorry, it's what curls down, and that's why you get separation on your corners and people get cracking and things like that. So it's very important on a fill because you want to remove the natural nail. On a full set, I just want to remove bulk and make the nail really thin on the free edge. You don't need bulk. You want to have that really nice thin feel. Then rub in your oil really good. That cuticle oil is with a dropper. That's the Cuccio one, and this one's vanilla berry, and it smells delightful.
It does smell delightful.
How do they feel?
Like heaven.
She's back. She's been gone since like COVID.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Yeah.
So she has
What have I been
returned.
doing
She had
with
2
my life?
babies in the process. So now she's back and nails are back and she can feel whole once again.
They just make you feel like you've done something with your life, even if you haven't done anything.
All right, I'm just going to quickly zip the top of these. So this is just salon nails, guys. I hope that this video has helped you, given you a couple of tips. If you have any questions on Facebook or YouTube, please just leave them in the comments. I will try to get to them. And we will see you next time. Hopefully I will have some new tricks to show you. I did go to the retreat just to hang out with some friends. And did learn a couple of new tricks, so I'm looking forward to trying those out on some people. So we shall. Sorry, I just smashed my phone. All right, let's see all of them. Okay, here we go. Finish set. She's got new fingers now. All right. We'll talk to you guys next time. See you later. Bye.
I just loved the whole video.
Oh, good. Thanks for joining us, Cindy. We'll talk to you later. Bye, y'all.